Hi guys, Freddie B here on a Saturday, November 28th. Thank you so much for joining me. It's week 12 of the NFL, and we'll get to my pathetic picks in a moment. But first, let's talk about Supreme Court Justice Chief John Roberts. Now, why has he shifted from the conservative President Bush thought he was and made him the Chief Justice when he was nominated? Remember, he replaced, I believe, Sandra Day O'Connor, and usually the next guy in line becomes Chief Justice, but he actually was nominated for the Supreme Court, and since we needed a Chief Justice anyway, or whatever, I think Sandra Day O'Connor may be wrong, he was elected that. So it's kind of an interesting thing. So he goes in there. Now, why did he get that job? Well, he was on the D.C. Court of Appeals. So the thing about John Roberts is he was already part of that D.C. inner sanctum deal where he's already met most of these people. He probably partied with some of these Supreme Court justices already, so they probably already knew him pretty well. So they didn't have a problem bringing him into the fold, and they knew how he was. And here's the problem in D.C. If you're a conservative and you have conservative views, you don't get to go to all the really good parties. So he didn't want to give up. As a district court judge, you can make rulings and stuff like that, but it's not really going to affect America in so many ways. But as a Supreme Court justice, it certainly has a huge effect on the American population. So you don't want to give up your cool Christmas parties and your great Thanksgiving parties and things like that by being a conservative-leaning justice. Now, Scalia and RBG got along famously outside of the Supreme Court, yet they argued vehemently against each other inside. They could hold an incredibly true, good friendship regardless of their particular feelings about a particular subject. And they understood that, part of this is just the business we're in. But that doesn't have to necessarily translate over into our regular lives. So, he's also Harvard educated, and show me somebody who went to Harvard who's not a liberal. I'm not a big fan of Harvard or a lot of the Ivy League schools anymore. They are just feeding grounds for this anti-American sentiment, this anti-Americanism, this whole thing that you can't get it unless we give it to you mentality. And that bothers me as somebody who over the years has kind of taken my own path, if you will. Sometimes to my own detriment, but that's the way it goes. So President Trump needs to go out like a champ, and he's not doing it. And it's disappointing to all of his Trump supporters, myself included. I'm not saying he needs to say, I lost. And he can use fraud all he wants, because I believe him that this election was tainted with some of the biggest shenanigans and fraud that we'll see. But history will prove us right. History will prove the Trump supporters correct in that there was massive fraud. Outside of that, it's going to take a while, and guess who's going to be president? It's going to be Sleepy Joe and Camel Toe. So with Sleepy Joe and Camel Toe as president, you can't kick them out of office once they're in. And once they're in, they're in. But Trump needs to put himself in a position. He had mentioned the other day that he might run in 2024. Well, I'm going to tell you, if he's got this pouty attitude and he's acting like a bitch, he's going to lose some support. So if you're watching, Mr. President, which I doubt you are, but if you are, go out like a champ. Here's what you do. If you're a comedian, you come out and you do the first joke, you do the first minute or two, and you just bang, bang, bang. You hit them hard, you hit them long, and you get them laughing, and then you can kind of glide through the next 20 minutes or so. You're going to put some zingers in there and stuff, but you can kind of relax and tell your jokes and tell your stories and stuff. But when it's time for the end, you got to hit them hard. Again, you got to hit them with the zinger, so when they leave, they go, holy crap, was he fun. The entire show was great, and that's the secret to being a great stand-up comedian. Also, you have to be funny. The secret to being a great president is to come in like you did, like a lion, roar really loud, and when you leave, you let them know. You go out with a bang. You're gregarious. You're nice. You say, hey, Joe, come on in. Let's get you some cocoa. Let me show you the secret room. Hey, by the way, here's where President Clinton, with Monica Lewinsky, she was great. I got to tell you, I like a big girl. It's okay. So, Keep that in mind, Mr. President. Finally, Freddie Bz Pathetic Week 12 NFL Pathetic Picks. Here's where we're going. We got the Chiefs and the Bucks. I got to take the Bucks. Why? Because they're the Bucks. Plus, they lost last week in a really close game, so the Bucks need to win, and Tom Brady hates to lose. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs. Plus, quite frankly, even Tom Brady at 100 is a better quarterback than the Chiefs quarterback, even though he's really, really good. Dolphins and Jets. This is my scariest game of the week. The Jets are 0 for eternity, but they always seem to beat the Dolphins, which kills me. But I really believe that Tua, after a heartbreaking loss last week, will come back, and the Dolphins will beat the Jets. So I'm going to take the Dolphins there. Even though they're playing in New York, it's going to be cold, all that good stuff. But the Jets are really pathetic. Even history, I don't think is going to save them. Now, I may eat my words, I'm pretty sure. Bears-Packers. Well, you get the Bears against the Packers. Two very high-pitched fan bases going against each other. Big rivalry and everything. They're playing in Green Bay. I'm going with the Packers on that one. Panthers and Vikings. Very tough game. Both teams I know nothing about. I can say this, that the team that scores the most points by the end of the game is probably going to win this one. So I think it's going to be the Panthers. And finally, the Browns versus the Jaguars. Okay? So, you got the Browns, which is a color, versus a cat, which is really, really fast. They're playing in Jacksonville. The weather's going to be nice. Everything is going to be on Jacksonville's favor, and that's why I'm going to go with the Browns again this year. So, hey, thanks a lot. Look forward to talking to you again. Have a great, great Saturday, and I'll see you soon.